And so all of that kind of leads to the gait analysis, because there's an awful lot of walking that's involved in these videos.
Yeah, well, let's talk about the gait analysis. I mean, is it something that happens very much? I mean, is it a tool that's used? How reliable is it? To what extent should we believe it? That's how the woman was identified, right?
That's correct. People get drone striked for less conclusive matches than what they have here with this information. It matched on that thing to the point where the Blaze legal team felt comfortable moving forward. And that should tell people something, because the Blaze is not Kyle Seraphin sitting in his podcast studio. The Blaze is a like hundreds of millions of dollar company that has a huge physical presence, and they have hundreds of employees, and they've been to their studio set, and they have professional everything, including lawyers who do analysis on this. And they felt comfortable moving forward under a couple of things. One, it wasn't just that the gate matched, because that's critical. You need to have that happen. A 94% match doesn't mean that 6% of the population also walks the same way. That's not what it means. It means that the variability between what they saw in the subject, the control, and the unknown subject, which they were analyzing, matched at a 94% rate. And so you can already click out all the people that don't meet the height requirements. The subject that they were looking for was about 5'7". So that's very specific. Now you have that. The second thing is that the subject they were looking at had a pronounced right leg drag, which is a specific feature similar to a limp that happens. And it turns out the subject they identified had a right leg surgery in 2015 due to a soccer injury that happened while she was at Temple.
Brian Cole Jr., a 30-year-old white man from the D.C. suburbs, is charged with transporting an explosive device in interstate commerce and with malicious destruction by means of explosion. CNN observed local and federal law enforcement outside his home in Woodbridge, Virginia this morning.
So my name is Corinne Clifford. I'm a very serious independent journalist. If you know the work that I do, you'll understand where I'm at right now. I am in the neighborhood in Woodbridge, Virginia, where the alleged pipe bomber lives. I'm not doxing anything. It's a very cute neighborhood. And guess what? I just spoke to his mother, Delicia. And she's got a beautiful name, Delicia. And she's a beautiful woman, and she and I just cried together because she says that her son is innocent. I didn't tape record her. I didn't videotape her. I didn't set her up. I wrote a letter. I gave it to her. I gave it to the neighbors. If there's any information, everyone can call me and text me at 917-287-1314. But I want you all to know I live for Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And if a black man is accused of something he didn't do, I will spend the rest of my life on this news story. This is very banned and censored, dangerous news now. I don't know all the facts because I was told by journalists like Steve Baker 2 months ago that the pipe bomber was a white all-American lesbian female who allegedly works for the CIA. But I just knocked on Delicia Cole, the mother of Brian Cole Jr. I just knocked on her door. She answered, and we cried together. And if her son is innocent, I will go to the ends of the earth to help him. She doesn't know what jail or prison her son is in right now, and I gave her a little bit of help in that direction. But this is a really serious news story. I'm not trying to look glamorous. I'm not trying to say I'm cool. My name is Corinne Clifford, and I do very, very serious news. And the backlash for this is going to be very serious, so stay tuned.
To all units, proceed to your post assignments. All units, proceed to your post assignments.
That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. That's the sound of the beast.
Yeah, baby. It's episode 10 of Probable Cause on December 9th, 2025. Jeff Norman and Greg Dillon, the FBI supermodel, whistleblower, and former agent. And tonight we're joined by Corinne Clifford, an independent journalist. She's a member of the White House Press Corps. And this week she had a meeting with the mother of the pipe bomb suspect, Brian Cole Jr. And she is Delicia Cole Jr. No, Delicia Cole. Delicia, I think, wasn't that your gang name, Greg? What a coincidence. Anyway, very serious matter, so sorry for the levity. But anyway, good evening to you, Corinne. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I am doing so good, and I'm so grateful to be able to talk to you both uncensored.
We don't censor at all. You can even use cuss words, but in that video you said you're a religious woman, so maybe you don't cuss.
I don't cuss.
All right. Greg, can we keep our language clean tonight, do you think?
Certainly.
Out of respect for Corinne.
Of course.
So you visited Delicia, if I may call her by her first name, Mrs. Cole, but you didn't record the interview. Did you ask her if it would be okay to record, or you didn't even bother asking her?
So I didn't have an arranged meeting. I went to her to knock on her door. I went into her neighborhood. I printed out letters for all the neighbors and for her and for the father of Brian Cole Jr., Brian Cole Sr. He is really critical and key to this whole scenario. It's going to get very interesting as this progresses. And, I knocked on her door. And that's the kind of journalist I am. I've done this many times in the past. And, God is watching. And I think that she and I really connected. I'm a mother. She's a mother. Her son is a 30-year-old person that she says is non-sexual. He's on the spectrum. She said he has autism. He is an introvert. He stays home. He lives there. He lives in the basement. He is a very kind, normal person with all the neighbors. So I knocked on her door. We didn't have a meeting, and she opened her door to me, and we looked in each other's eyes and we talked very honestly. So of course I'm not going to tape record her. I'm not going to videotape her. I did not bring a camera crew, and I wanted to gain trust with her because this is a story. This is a situation that's going to affect us for the rest of our lives. And I want to be ethical, and I don't want to use hidden cameras. And, I didn't even ask her if I could film her because I wanted to feel her energy. And, she was crying and I was crying, and it's a very serious situation because she says that her son was framed. She says her son was set up. She says there's no way that her son could have done this. And of course, every mother would say that. However, Charlie Kirk's assassin's mother is not saying that. So potentially each situation is different. But in this particular situation, Brian Cole Jr. has a mother and father that love him. And, as I get deeper and deeper into this, and I talk to therapists and I talk to specialists and I talk to neighbors, I can't name my sources, it's a gorgeous neighborhood, honestly. I would live in the neighborhood. It's really safe. It's really quiet. It's 50% black, 50% white. One of the neighbors was threatening to shoot me if I didn't get off his property, which I find to be hilarious because I always bring my bulletproof backpack from sat123.com. And I always bring my satellite phone everywhere I go in case I have a problem. And I had, a bodyguard with me who watches over me, who's an America First gentleman. And, I really had a heart-to-heart conversation with the mother. Her name is...
I take it she invited you in, right? You didn't say that, but it sounds like...
I asked her to come in. I'm not going to be that kind of person.
Oh, you talked to her just standing in the doorway?
Yes, and she opened the door to me, and she and I looked in each other's eyes, mother to mother, human being to human being. And I talked to her because my focus is on people who've been arrested by the U.S. federal government. And of course, I've been focused on this, especially because of January 6th. And I can tell you right now, I don't have anyone who is in jail or prison at this point, except for Tina Peters. Everyone that I've given the most publicity to since 2021 is not in jail or prison right now. So I don't care what the lawyers say. And that's what I was talking to the mother of Brian Cole Jr. about. I was talking to Delicia, just woman to woman, mother to mother, and saying, you're about to go through a lot. And I've been here and I understand that you're not supposed to talk to me. And I really listened to her. And that's the kind of journalist I am. I want to build a relationship. I'm not throwing a camera in her face. I'm not going to secret record her. And I talk to the neighbors, and they're not going to push me away. And I'm going to do it again and again and again.
All right. Well, Greg and I were talking. I don't remember what it was about. Maybe you remember, Greg, but you asked me my opinion of something not too long ago. And I said, well, I believe whatever the last thing I heard is. And I was half serious, half kidding. But this pipe bomb situation is a little bit like that. As we saw in the opening, Kyle Seraphin was our guest exactly 1 month ago, and he was doing surveillance. He's a former FBI agent who was surveilling the property right next door. So he doesn't believe that this is the real killer either. But then I spoke to you, or not spoke, but I think we exchanged texts or emails. Greg.
No killer. No killer.
What's that?
There's no killer. It's alleged.
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know why I said that word. I don't know. Yeah. Thank you for correcting me.
No problem.
But then the other day we exchanged texts or emails, Greg, and you seem to think that the FBI has the guy that really did it now.
I do, not because of any inside information. I just think that they would be so gun shy in light of the Richard Jewell Atlanta Olympic bombing case that they would be as close to beyond a reasonable doubt as you can get during the course of an investigation.
Well, I'm putting up on the screen now a portion of an article from The Hill, and this is the evidence they're relying on. There's cell phone records. The towers, I guess, can determine where somebody was, and also some purchases that were components that were used in the pipe bomb. And I think the sneakers were distinctive. Is this the sort of evidence that could be debunked if it's phony evidence?
Is that for me or Corinne?
I mean, yeah. The
Well,
sneakers were $300 sneakers. The one thing I want to talk about here is that, when the feds target you, they set you up. So I don't trust much of anything, but I do respect President Trump and his whole team. I respect Jeanine Pirro, and I actually do kind of respect Kash Patel. I really respect Dan Bongino. I think that there is a war going on inside the FBI with good FBI and bad FBI. There's definitely 100% a war going on within the DOJ, with good DOJ and bad DOJ. And I think that a lot is going on that's way deeper. I think that this young man was set up. I think that he was radicalized online. I think he probably did buy those particular things for bombs. He probably was experimenting. He's very asocial. He probably got into a chat room or a Discord. And I think that he doesn't like the Republicans or Democrats. I think that his father, Brian Cole Sr., is a very wise man. I think that his father, is a Black rights activist, basically, who helps people get out of jail. His father is a professional bail bondsman in about approximately 20 states. I think the father has had incidents where he felt like, the white side was clobbering him because he's a Black business owner. And I think maybe the father made some enemies inside the DOJ, potentially inside the Biden regime. Potentially, this has nothing to do with President Trump and his administration. This is way deeper. This could be internal situations that happened because of Brian Cole Sr. And then the powers that be decide to set his son up. Potentially, the white female alleged lesbian CIA agent that was the potential real bomber could have set the son up. We don't know the truth, but there are satellites everywhere, and we should know the truth. There's satellites.
Yeah, well, that's why I was asking. It was really the question more for Greg, if this is the type of evidence that could be faked. In other words, the cell phone records and so forth, the records of the purchases. It seems to me like it really can't be faked. This is a portion of an article from John Solomon's Just the News. And Corinne, you mentioned before that the mother, I know you're not supposed to talk to me, you said to her. And this might be a good example of why it's not a good idea, because after she was going on about how the kid couldn't have done it, look at the last sentence. She says, if he did, it was just him trying to prove a point or whatever. So she kind of acknowledges right there that, well, maybe he did do it. So that's not helpful.
Corinne, I'm just a little confused. Is you're saying he didn't do it, or he did do it but was led to do this by being influenced? I just want to clear that up, because his car was photographed in the proximity of the location of the bomb. So I mean, there's more than just there's additional evidence other than him confessing. Let's put it that way.
So what I'm saying is that his mother and I had a very serious conversation that left me very emotional and left her very emotional. And I think that there is something deeper going on. There are satellites everywhere. I'm saying in my estimation right now, I think that there is enough evidence to say that he potentially was part of this, but just because your car is in that location doesn't mean anything. And what I'm concerned about is there is a lot of situations where this happened on January 6th, 2021. He didn't act alone 100%. Potentially, if he did do this, if he was part of this, he was radicalized online. But I'm not telling you if he did or didn't do it. I'm telling you what his mother said to me. And then I'm telling you all the investigation I've done. I'm not the FBI. I'm not going to tamper with an FBI investigation. I'm taking all sides of every equation. Obviously, there is a great chance that he did do this, but he did not act alone because it was
one of your colleagues in the White House press corps asked the president if he thinks he acted alone. Trump didn't give much of an answer, but let's take a look at what he did say.
I'm Kara from Lindell TV, Kara Cashinova, and I'm not fake news, just so you know. And everybody's talking about the pipe bomber over the weekend, the suspect that was taken into custody. I reported on Biden's kangaroo court for 4 years. And this is an important question to me. Everyone knows that J6 was a Fed's direction to set you and your supporters up. So my question is, what's your gut instinct about the new pipe bomber suspect taken into custody? Does your instinct tell you that he acted alone? And also, Mr. President, how do you feel about the lead prosecutor on the pipe bomber case? Jocelyn Ballantine is the same prosecutor that allegedly asked the J6er to lie to frame you for J6 when you did nothing wrong. What are your thoughts?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate that question. It's sort of a statement, and I appreciate it very much. Jocelyn is being looked at. They all have to be looked at. What they're doing is so bad. This was a whole Democrat hoax. The whole thing was a Democrat hoax, and it's all being looked at. I appreciate that.
So he didn't really say whether or not he thinks he acted alone, but
now, that's my colleague Kara Castanova, and she and I are working on this behind the scenes together. And we have another person on our team. We tend to do this because, you know, the backlash to this is very serious stuff. So I'm telling you that she alerted President Trump that this woman Jocelyn is a deep state actor in the DOJ, which is also part of, you know, the FBI has these deep state actors. President Trump can't fire these people fast enough. Kash Patel can't fire them fast enough. Pam Bondi's not firing them fast enough. They're in the CIA. They're in all the agencies, all the buildings in Washington, D.C., because every time President Trump or Doge or anyone tries to fire anyone, the backlash is the activist judges try to stop it. So we have deep state actors that are not loyal to Republican or Democrat in all of these agencies and all of these buildings. And they potentially could have, you know, set this young man up, which is what they did to so many people. We had over 2,158 people arrested and in jails and prisons across America, approximately just this time last year. So, you know, President Trump is doing his best. He does not know the specifics of this case, but
neither does the audience. I'm sorry to interrupt, but let's explain what the suspicion is about Jocelyn Ballantine. She was a prosecutor who went after some of the January 6th defendants, and in a way where she's accused of setting them up. Here's the head of the Proud Boys, Enrique Tarrio. Yeah. So that's the reason there is suspicion about her. I'm a little bit hazy, though, on whether or not she's actually in charge of the case. I mean, that's what the Trump people are saying, but I don't think she's actually the one in charge.
Right. So she's not in charge. She definitely has a boss, but she definitely has done things in the past that are very questionable. So Kara Castanova wanted to make that very clear to President Trump, because I was not in the Oval Office that day. And that's not my role in this. We each have a different role in this, but we want to make sure that President Trump is not blamed for a black 30-year-old man being arrested if this man is not.
Well, hold on. Jake Tapper said he's white. Who should we believe, you or Jake Tapper?
Obviously me.
All right. And you said in the video that if a black man is wrong, you would go to the end of the earth or some such thing to help exonerate him. Why just a black man? Why wouldn't you do that for a white man like, say, Greg?
I've already done it for over 2,158 American patriots, pro-life activists, people, lawyers for Trump. I've already done that. I don't want to be accused of being a white supremacist. I don't want President Trump to be accused of being a white supremacist. President Trump's pardon czar is Alice Johnson. She's a beautiful Black woman. We are not racist. We are here to help people and stand up for the U.S. Constitution. And so that's why I'm delving into this. My role is to make sure that a race war doesn't start over this. My role is to make sure that President Trump doesn't get blamed for this. President Trump has nothing to do with this. The Biden regime knew about Brian Cole Jr. since 2021, and they did nothing.
All right. Well, all right. You're talking about your role, so maybe we should have said this at the beginning. What did you do before you joined the White House Press Corps, and how did it come to be that you're a member of the White House Press Corps? And after that, I think we want to hear what it's like to be a member of the White House Press Corps. Don't we, Greg?
Sure.
So in 2019, I was in a rebellious phase of my life, and my daughter was about to go to college, and I was a stay-home mom in Beverly Hills, California, Aspen, Colorado. So I had a very privileged life. And I realized I'm going to be an empty nester. And so I started live streaming with a very rowdy group of boys, Baked Alaska, Ice Poseidon, a lot of the boys that got arrested and or were threatened over January 6th. And so I got into that whole group that almost got set up over January 6th. So I got my life changed over the COVID closures, over the fact that everything closed on me, the fact that, everything I loved to do was canceled and I had so much time on my hands. And then we started covering protests, marches, rallies. We were getting millions and millions of views and we all got banned on every platform. And so then my daughter took off to college. And I realized, my God, I have something to do here, something to fight for. I want to fight for the U.S. Constitution, obviously the First Amendment, free press. So my career evolved. In January 2021, I decided to move to Washington, D.C. from Beverly Hills because I believe that President Trump won the 2020 presidential election. And I was fighting the COVID-19 vaccine laws and mandates. I got banned from Wells Fargo. I got banned and censored everywhere. So bottom line is that, I try to fight behind the scenes. I'm not trying to be famous. I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to give you real journalism and make the powers that be accountable.
Oh, slow down. You said you moved to Washington because you believed the election was stolen.
So the reason that I left.
But more specifically, why did you go to Washington?
I moved to Washington, D.C. and moved to Beverly Hills in January 2021 because of the COVID closures, because of the vaccine mandates and laws in Los Angeles. The city council voted unanimously. You couldn't have a job or go to a restaurant unless you took the vaccine. So I had a breakdown. I'm a Beverly Hills girl. I used to wear 5-inch heels. I wasn't intending to be an investigative journalist, but I did go to journalism school at USC. So I do have a background and I was an empty nester. So I decided, hey, I'm going to go live stream in Washington, D.C. and cover everything that happened after January 6th because so many of my friends were arrested. If I had been there, I would have been arrested.
Okay. So you just declared yourself to be a citizen journalist, which anybody can do.
I don't know. Wrong. I don't use citizen, and I have earned my stripes. I've covered protest rallies, marches across America since the end of 2019, 2020. 2021 was really in federal court when I started seeing what was going on, and the fact that I almost got arrested. If I had been there January 6th, I would have been arrested, and I knew so many people who were arrested. So my evolution is over the last 5 years of just saying, my gosh, what is going on here in the U.S. federal government?
Well, I just meant, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to insult you, but I just meant independent journalists. You weren't hired by a media organization.
So
correct?
I don't want to work for anyone. I need to be independent 100%. I fund myself. I have donors who fund me. If someone out there wants to donate to me, fund me on my X account. I have people who fund me who are not foreign countries, are not major corporations. And that's why it is critical and key that I'm on the front line because no one can buy me. I'm a daughter of the American Revolution. I stand up for the U.S. Constitution only. So I do stuff that other journalists won't do, and I don't have a boss that censors me. And because, the White House understands the kind of work I do, they gave me the hard pass, which I'm very grateful for. I'm one of the few independent.
But was there some process where you were trying to get into the White House Press Corps, or did they just reach out to you and it surprised you with the invitation?
I just show up to the White House. I was in the White House under Biden a couple times, but they wanted me to take the vaccine, which I refused to do. So they keep making it hard for me to get in. But then in March, I decided just to go because I was in the fires in Pacific Palisades. We lost multiple houses. And so I was in Washington, D.C., and I just started going every day. And then the White House offered it to me because they saw that I'm a very hard worker. And I think it's really important to have independent journalists like me. Very important. I don't work for anyone. No one tells me the questions to ask. No one controls me. No one gives me a news narrative. And I do the work that I'm called to do by my viewers who are America First, which is very rare. There are very few true America First journalists in the United States of America at this time in history.
All right, you mentioned your X account. Is that, I want to just help you get those donations or at least draw some attention to it. Is that your X name? Is that correct?
You spelled my name wrong. It's CORINNE CLIFORD. So it's 2 N's and 1 F. It's Corinne Clifford.
Well, let me fix that. Sorry about that. That's why I asked. So 1 R, 2 N's, right?
CORINNE CLIFORD. And so, you know, I have to sell satellite phones from sat123.com. I sell the bulletproof backpack from darkbags.com. I make money by selling products. And so I'm getting a lot of hit pieces written about me, which I super don't care. The Google search engine doesn't list most of the shows that I go on. However, today I did like 5 Fox News hits. So I'm potentially getting more and more mainstream because mainstream media is realizing that they are missing the mark by not having journalists like me on the front line and in their news programs. I give the real news from the front line of history. I'm boots on the ground, heels on the ground. I don't sit in a studio. I'm usually at the White House. I'm usually in Senate. I've confronted so many senators. I have a 5-year, very serious history. I confront judges. I do very serious work. No one tells me what to do.
Okay, excuse me. So, Corinne, I'm just curious to kind of get back to the theme of the show. Other than your in-person interview with Cole's mom, what leads you to believe that he didn't do this other than her opinion?
I never told you that he did or didn't. I said, I do not believe that he acted alone. No matter what goes down, I do not believe he acted alone. I'm not going to get into the did or didn't right now. I'm going to get the mother's side of the story to the public because that's what I feel I need to do, you know, but the bottom line is that I don't know if he did or didn't do it. I do believe that he's the type of child who, you know, wanted to live in his parents' house. He did have issues. His mother should have helped him get out there and, you know, have more friends and be more social. But he did work for his father, so he was educated. And I know that he had a very active life online, although his mother told me that they didn't confiscate his computer yet. I do think that he potentially was experimenting in things, and he potentially did buy these, you know, bomb-making products, and potentially he had a girl online or a boy online who convinced him to be in those areas in his car. We have satellites everywhere. Once again, I'm telling you, there's satellites everywhere. So why are we relying on this specific footage? There's way deeper footage and way deeper evidence out there. So I don't know if he did or didn't do it. I'm saying that I want to stand up for the mother in this case. I think the father knows what's going on. The mother is not asking for any donations to their legal fees. They're not asking for money to the child's commissary. The parents are handling this like professionals, and they're not asking for any help. And I don't want this to turn into any type of race war. I don't want President Trump to be blamed for this. I want to report the facts as I'm getting them, and I don't want any diversions on this. This has nothing to do with President Trump. Joe Biden's administration messed this whole thing up.
Well, you said something very curious, and Greg, as I said before, is a former FBI agent. So let me ask you, Greg, are you surprised to hear that they have not yet confiscated his computer?
Well, I don't believe that they would have conducted a search warrant on the residence and not removed the computer, but I don't want to disagree with the mother because she's in a better position to know. But I would be shocked and amazed if they executed a search warrant on the residence and within the search warrant was not a
Right.
request.
Well, Corinne, did the
Is
mom
any
say whether or not they did come and search the premises?
She told me that, of course, that they had searched the private premises, but she told me that his computer is not confiscated yet. And so I don't really know, how to go with that. But what I'm saying is that whether he did or didn't do it, he definitely did not act alone, because it was January 6th. This child, who's 30 years old, he is a child in the intellectual sphere. He wears thick glasses. So I think it's important to get his medical records. When he was in court, his glasses were thick. The pipe
Mine are thin, by the way, so just
the
wanted to.
pipe bomber wasn't wearing thick glasses. And I asked his mom about his eye history and other important information. And I think it's really important just to say that there's deeper things going on in this case, and we need to be open-minded. And I don't want President Trump, once again, to get blamed for this investigation, because President Trump is not even aware of the facts of this investigation. Kara Castanova had to update him. And, President Trump is overwhelmed right now trying to make a peace treaty between Russia and Ukraine. So I just want to make sure that
I understand you. Well, another thing that I find curious, you mentioned, not on the show, but I think in one of the videos, that the mom doesn't even know where her son is imprisoned. That sounds weird too. Why not just ask the attorney?
So that actually does happen a lot of times, and she doesn't know which jail or prison officially her son is in. And that does happen many times in cases. And it is scary. I've dealt with hundreds of January 6th political prisoners, pro-life activists. I've had people arrested in front of me, in front of the U.S. Capitol. I've been dealing with this since 2021, and that does happen often. I've had people arrested in 2020 at protests. We didn't know what jail or prison they were in for several days. So sometimes that does happen, and that's not alarming to me. That's not a red flag. That just means that this is a very well-protected case, because potentially I could go to the jail or prison and try to interview him.
Or at least the attorney, although you said in a video also that you think it's ridiculous to talk to attorneys. I didn't quite get that. But it seems to me that if his whereabouts is unknown, this is such a high-profile case, it would be very easy for the attorney to make a lot of noise in the media and say, hey, we don't know where he's being kept. So something about this.
Don't misquote me. I didn't say it's ridiculous to talk to the attorneys. I said it's ridiculous in all these cases. I've dealt with hundreds of cases, I want to say almost thousands, where the attorneys say, don't talk to journalists, don't talk to independent journalists. That is ridiculous. You always want to show who you are to the public. You want to cry. You want to be emotional. You want to have a press conference. You want the public to have feelings for you. You don't want to do what the alleged assassin for Charlie Kirk is doing, where you have no contact with the public. You want the public to feel your side. You need that. All of the cases that I gave the most publicity to since 2021, at the most, maybe they got 19 days in prison at the most. My footage has been used against people in tons of court cases, and the judges respect it. One thing judges don't like, they don't like publicity. So these judges, and the particular judge for this particular alleged pipe bomber, I'm not even going to say the judge's name because it's a magistrate and it doesn't even matter. The bottom line is this: there is a lot of really high level things going on in this case. December 15th is the next court date. And I wanted to give the mother's side of this because I want people to have a little bit of passion and compassion, although the mother is to be accountable for her son because he does live with her, and she should try to socialize him just a little bit more and get him involved in the YMCA or swimming or activities.
Well, I think we're a little bit past that point at this point. I mean, his socialization.
We are never past that point, and I'm a mother, and I say that to other mothers. You're a mother forever, and it is your responsibility to help your children evolve and grow in this world. And I think that the mother, I love her name, Delicia. She's a beautiful woman. I cried with her, but I do think it's important for the parents to socialize the kids. In this situation, after talking to the neighbors, I'm not going to say their names, after being threatened by one of the neighbors, I think the kid needed a little bit more socialization. He hung out with his dog. He wore, the earplugs. He didn't have friends. He allegedly was asexual, potentially multisexual, bisexual. We don't even know any of that. What I care about is he went to the 7-Eleven. this particular person worked for his father. I think it's important when you have a person like that to get them on the right medication, to get them socialized.
But 7-Eleven, I'm sorry, I got lost somewhere.
No, there was a 7-Eleven that he used to go to almost every day.
So I got you.
Corinne went there and as part of like talking to the folks in the neighborhood. Now, Corinne, by the way, I'm sorry, I certainly don't want to misquote you, but I have the video clip that I was referring to. Let's just play it and we'll get it clear exactly what I was referring to.
Okay.
Of course, she wants me to talk to her lawyer, which I think is ridiculous. I always talk to the people, but I will keep you updated. Stay tuned. God bless you.
So, and was I misquoting you, or I got exactly right?
Oh, we got confused about topics. So basically, they always tell you talk to my lawyer. That is ridiculous in these cases because the lawyers never tell you anything that's worthy. And half the time, honestly, the lawyers don't even know what's going on because they only got their retainer. And many of these lawyers, not this particular lawyer, but many lawyers only care about the retainer. Brian Cole Sr. is a very successful bail bondsman. Now, I'm being told he may potentially owe money and taxes somewhere, something. That could be an issue too. But what matters is that they know how to handle this situation. So they always say, talk to my lawyer, which I think is ridiculous. I'm not going to talk to the lawyer. I'm not calling the lawyer on the phone. I talk to the people. I go to the jails and the prisons. I wait until you're ready to talk to me. I talk to so many people who've been arrested, jails and prisons everywhere. People have been arrested in front of me. I talk to the people. I don't go through the lawyers. So going through the lawyers to me is ridiculous because the lawyers tell their clients, don't talk to the media. But I'm telling you that I have had so many people in pro se in U.S. federal court who actually talked to me and their footage was used against them in their court.
All right, yeah, but you said that
15 days in prison and the judge respected them more. The judge respects you. The more publicity you get, I'm telling you, the judge.
But you said that you were helping her figure out where her son is imprisoned. And so it seems to me that the lawyer might be a good person to include in that process. I don't know how else you're going to find out if not through the lawyer.
So mother to mother, our conversation was very emotional. And I said, if you need my help, you can call me. I gave her my direct cell phone number. I have a second line that I use for tips. I have an email that I use for tips. But I'm saying that basically I said to her, if you need my help finding out where your son really is, I will do that. So that was mother to mother. And I like to be a little bit emotional in these situations because this is very emotional. Can you imagine if your son was taken from your home and accused of being a pipe bomber for January 6th? 2021. Do you know how serious that is? That will destroy your life forever. Your life is destroyed forever, whether it's real or fake. And that's what I stand up for. So I'm trying to take the mother's side since she's not talking to the public. I'm probably one of the only people who will potentially interview her and ever interview her. She's being told by the lawyers and probably by, her husband, who she says they're no longer together. Ms. Cole is being told not to talk to anyone about it. So
we're flashing your number there. So
to me, I was honored that she would open her door to me. No, I give the second phone number to everyone. You can dox my number. It's fine.
No, I'm not doxing you. This is what you put. You put this on X, and then you say, and you said it in the video. I would never dox you. And I think I got your name spelled correctly now, right? Is that
yes? Right? Thank you so much. So
I'm not sure you have it correct, though. I think there should be a second F in Clifford. What's going on? I need one more consonant to feel good.
That's me. My family is the Clifford family from England, and I took one F off my name intentionally because I took my mother's. I come from a really stressful, powerful, wealthy family that I don't want to be part of. And so I can't talk about it in public because I signed confidentialities with my family members. I will write a book one day about it, but I'm not going to get into that. I changed my last name and I took Clifford and I made it with one F because I was born on January 14th and I wanted 14 letters in my name. I did that when I was 21. I was going to USC, University of Southern California. So I like the fact that you understand that. Thank you for caring about that.
I care about all the details. All right, before we let you go, I want to just go back a little bit to the White House press corps, and I don't want it to sound like I'm grilling you per se. It's just that I think the average person out there in the audience is curious about what it's like to be a member of the White House press corps. You were very independent. You started showing up, and somehow you got these credentials now. And does that mean you can go to any particular press briefing that that Ms. Levitt gives? Is that how it works, or is it more specific and limited? And just can you paint a picture for us what it's actually like?
So there's 55 seats approximately in the White House press briefing room, and those are reserved for people who are mainstream media, who are funded media. Now, listen, I'm finding out a lot of this funding comes from U.S. federal government grants. So NPR, PBS, they have seats. ABC, NBC, they have seats. They have cameramen. They have everything. I don't have all of that. I can't afford to go on Air Force One. I could get invited. I can't afford to go. It's thousands of dollars to go on Air Force One. I can't afford that. So financially, I'm limited. And when we have press briefings, I have to stand on the side as new media does. We're not given seats yet. However, you just saw what the Pentagon did. So there may be a whole shakeup. We don't know yet, but there is a White House Correspondents Association that has controlled the White House press corps for years and years. That needs to end. They have been blocking new media like me from coming in. Hopefully that ends eventually, because it's all about money. It's all about the fact that CNN has a $1 million tent outside, so they're not in the freezing cold. They have offices downstairs. They've got a lighting man. They have a cameraman. They have a producer. They have a booker. They have everything.
Right.
I don't have any of that. I use my phones. I use a cameraman when I can afford to. I use tripods, and I'm out there getting the real news face to face.
But can you get in anytime you want, but you just have to stand, or you can only sometimes get in?
Well, of course, for all the press conferences I can get in. Now, in the Oval Office, that goes to people that are very specific designees. Honestly, I haven't felt attractive enough to go into the Oval Office yet. I'm getting there and I'm working up to it, but I'm just telling you, there's a very high level of appearance in the White House press corps, and hopefully I will get to that level. I mean, Carolyn Levitt is one of the most beautiful women alive on planet Earth, and so I was a little intimidated in the beginning, but I'm just telling you that President Trump always is very kind. I know him personally, not as a friend, but I've known him in the past. I know his family members, and when he goes on and off Marine One, he lets me ask him questions. And the Fox News sometimes won't even record my questions. CNN doesn't record my questions. I've had a CNN cameraman hit me in the face so hard to keep me away from President Trump that I almost passed out. So the old media, the legacy media, is trying to get us kicked out. What I'm trying to explain to you is that it's a fight, because us new media, the old media, the legacy media, is trying to do whatever they can to get us kicked out. So I am treading lightly. I'm doing the best I can. I've only been there since March. I'm doing the best I can to try to figure this out, because no journalism school tells you what to say. Your boss tells you what to say. Mainstream media, they get their questions fed to them.
You mentioned that it would cost you thousands of dollars to go on Air Force One. Do you mean like when you get to wherever they're going and the ground transportation and hotels and so forth? Or are you saying that the government charges media organizations to come on?
Pay for the food and the flight and the hotels and the Ubers and everything. You have to pay for it. Yes.
I never knew that.
Food, you have
to pay to board the plane like it's like a commercial airline?
Yes, and you have to pay for the food, and you have to pay for the hotels, and you have to pay for the Ubers. I mean, I don't have that much money,
Well, I could see having to pay for food and ground transportation and hotels, but to pay to be on the plane? What does it cost?
Plane flight. It depends on the trip. It's a plane flight. I think that that's very fair to the U.S. taxpayers. And you have to pay for your food. Even Caroline Levitt has to pay for her
I know,
food.
I get the food, but if you're just sitting on the plane, you're not costing the government any money.
I mean, I can't even afford the food on the plane. So let's just
what does it cost approximately to ride on the plane?
I'm not going to give you the price quotes. Everything is different, but I'm just saying that there are different levels to this. And I'm trying to make sure that my hair, my nails, my appearance is perfect. I have the right questions to ask, because I am pretty much the only journalist there that's true America first. Kara obviously is. There's very few of us, maybe 5 at the most, America first journalists in the White House press corps. So stand up for us. You need us there. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to get mainstream media to care about these things. Caitlin Collins, after she interviewed Robert Kennedy Jr., I said, do you wish you hadn't taken the vaccine to keep your job? I'm there, trying to hold mainstream media accountable. I'm there asking questions that are America first. I'm doing the best I can, but no one trains you for this, and it is expensive. It is
All right. Well, we learned something. All right. Well, we kept you longer than we said, so I want to respect your time. Let me just remind folks that they can find you on X at Corinne Clifford, and you sell phones and other equipment in that realm at sat123.com. And if people have any tips They can give you a call at 917-287-1314. Thank you, Corinne.
Thank you. God bless you.
God bless you as well.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. I forgot. It's the holidays. Happy holidays.
Holidays.
Take care. All right, Greg. Well, I can certainly relate to needing to keep my nails and hair looking good. So I know what she's talking about. I don't want to squander all my funds on airplane fares. That's how you are too, right? You got to establish priorities.
Well, I was taken back by that. I never thought much about it. I guess it makes sense, although I
don't think it makes sense.
Well, I mean, it makes sense if you're trying to be respectful of the taxpayer, that you're just not giving people free bennies, free flights around the world and food and so forth. I never thought about it, so I don't really know what to make of it.
Well, let's look into that a bit more.
Yeah.
That was some interview, wasn't it?
A lot there to unravel. I would have liked to spend a little more time on the facts and not the feelings, but it was interesting.
All right. Well, Corinne obviously operates in the emotional realm. She doesn't make any apologies for it.
I was a little confused with the racial overtones or undertones with this, because I didn't really pick up on anything.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was hyperbolic when she said she's worried about a race war.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be any racial controversy in the news that I detected.
No, that's what I was saying. I didn't pick up on.
She made an issue out of race. Jake Tapper made an issue out of race.
Yeah, but that was inadvertently.
Well, it was inadvertent, but the question is, why would he even mention it? It's not so much that he made the mistake as that there was a decision to make an issue out of it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if your memory is good, when there was that shooter that walked into that business building in New York with the shoulder weapon along his side, he was initially described as a white male. And it was apparent from all the footage that he was not, although it was not clear if he was a black male or a Middle Eastern male or a Latino male, but he certainly wasn't a white male. And that was the initial description that was provided by CNN at the time.
Sorry, I was getting distracted. I thought
that's okay. So they have a sort of a history of mislabeling people based on race. But in any event, the only thing I will say is I didn't have it on my bingo card that it would be a black male for this, because historically and traditionally, serial killers, and or bombers have always been white males. So this
right. And it's not being a racist to just observe that's in fact a pattern.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm sure black people can claim to some other crime that they are in charge of, so to speak. What about Asians? Do they commit any crimes? Are they known for anything?
Geez, I don't want to get.
I'm trying to get you in trouble.
You're trying to lure me into a danger zone here.
All right. Let's play Has It Happened to Greg? This is when we look at some videos of police encounters and ask Greg if anything like that has happened in his experience. All right. Where is the first one? Here it is. This one, the punchline comes right away, but let's watch it anyway.
Okay.
I was talking to some other guys. So you work for Edmonds PD?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is a part-time gig.
Gotcha. Do you have your commission card with you?
Yeah, give me a minute. Here. Take me on 8 this right now.
No, didn't find it.
Sorry? No, he's going to. It's in my other bag.
Oh, okay.
He's grabbing it now.
Is it a loaded firearm that you have with you, Mr. Scaletta?
Correct.
Okay, can you put your hands on the car, please?
Can we not do this in front of everybody? I mean, really? You're doing just fine keeping your hands on that. I appreciate it.
We might have called Edmonds PD last night.
Yeah.
Not on the payroll.
Say it again?
You're not on the payroll of Edmonds PD.
He's not on the payroll. Maybe he's one of those volunteer cops.
I think he would have volunteered that information if he wasn't in fact a volunteer cop.
So have you ever encountered somebody who was impersonating a police officer?
Not to that level of effort. I mean, on occasion, we would have volunteer firemen that were trying to get through traffic with their lights. I mean, very sort of minor abuses of that, but not to the extent of actually wearing a full uniform and equipment. That's over the top. That's
I'm just
really,
a layman, so I don't know. That looks very realistic to me. Does that look?
It looks realistic to me. I don't know what put them onto it, other than he probably, when they ran his registration, it came back to him personally and not to a municipality.
I think he was acting wacky, and people called the police. That's my guess. I don't.
Could very well be. Sure, yeah. I mean, because there's a reason they're doing it, right? They're either trying to lure a woman into a compromising position where they could take advantage of them. Something. There has to be an angle there other than the enjoyment of walking around like you're a police officer, which I'm not sure how enjoyable it is, but.
All right, let's go on to the next video. Here is a guy who claims that he hates cops, but he acts very pleasant. So this guy is really a curious case. I would love to get a shrink to analyze this guy, but take a look at this.
Fairview 187. My vehicle's just been hit. Start an ambulance.
Hey, what happened?
You tell me.
I need a new car.
Here, come over here, buddy. Get out of the road. Here, have a seat real quick. What happened, dude?
I don't know, man. I've been drinking.
You been drinking?
Yeah, I've been drinking.
Okay.
And I took some weed pills.
Some weed pills?
Yeah.
Okay.
I did that on purpose, sir.
What, you hit me on purpose?
Yeah, I did.
Why is that?
I'm bored.
You bored?
I'm bored.
So you ran in the back of me on purpose?
Yep.
Why is that?
I hate cops, man.
Yeah? All right.
So am I going to the ambulance?
At first it was because he was bored, but then he changed it to he hates cops. It's awfully nonchalant, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he's obviously has some mental health issues there that need to be addressed. It's sad to see something like that because there's no explaining, his behavior, and you have to just assume that he's got some serious mental issues.
Yeah, that's the interesting part for me that I would like to ask you about because, he's saying he hates cops, he ran into the cop car and so forth. But on the other hand, you're right, it's obvious that he has mental problems. If you were on the scene at the time, would you be calm, cool, and collected and realize that, or would you be upset and treating him like
there's a difference in your response, Jeff, when you recognize that someone almost cannot help themselves versus someone who's just mean, violent, nasty SOB that is trying to hurt you. So it elicits a different emotional response as a rule. And once I think you recognize that the person is not in full control of their faculties, then you sort of shift gears and now treat them as someone that has a problem.
Yeah. Do you remember many years ago, Geraldo Rivera interviewed Charles Manson in prison? Do you recall that?
I mean, I remember Charles Manson and Geraldo, but I don't remember the interview itself now.
Right. Well, I remember, I was just a kid then, but I remember thinking Geraldo is like out of his mind because he was berating Charles Manson for, having done what he did. But it was so obvious in the interview that Charles Manson was crazy. I mean, he was like out of his mind.
But Jeff, let me ask you a question. What did Charles Manson do?
Well, it's been so long, I don't remember. Wasn't he convicted of getting people to commit murder?
Yes.
Yeah.
But he was not even in the house that night.
Yeah. So you're saying he shouldn't have been convicted?
Well, I don't know. I always found it interesting that he did far more prison time than anybody who actually killed people.
I haven't read the book, but there's a book called Chaos by Tom O'Neill that came out a couple of years ago.
And then I think there was the original book, Helter Skelter, was by the prosecuting attorney, whose name escapes me because it was so long ago. I think it was an Italian lad. But and I'm not saying I have sympathy for him. He probably was crazy, but when you think about it, he didn't pay anyone to commit murder.
Yeah. Well, I guess there was some corruption involved in that case.
Right. But what I'm saying is he wasn't even physically there. He didn't pay anyone to do it. He didn't blackmail anyone to do it. He didn't compel anyone to do it. He influenced people, I guess, to do it. But I always thought it was a kind of a prosecutorial stretch to get him the sentence that he received based upon what he did.
Somerville John asked a question that's gnawing at me. I don't understand it. Or it wasn't a question. He made a comment. Jesus, Jeff, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is named Clifford.
No, actually, every Tom, Dick, and Harry is named Tom, Dick, and Harry.
That's true, too. That's a comment that you would say to somebody who had just claimed that Clifford is a rare name. I don't think I claimed that. I just said there's usually two Fs, not one. Somerville John, I'm going to have to ask you to clarify your point. I don't get it. All right, we have more video.
Okay.
There's a police department in, I think it's pronounced Montesa, California. The weird thing about California is there's all these Spanish names, but they often don't have Spanish pronunciations. So I think they pronounce it Montesa, M-A-N-T-C-A. Last week, we showed a video that involved hitting a police vehicle. And this is the same thing, but taken to the nth degree.
We need to pin that. We need to pin that vehicle in. Hey, we need to pin the vehicle in. Watch out. He's mobile. He's mobile. You need to pin him in. Get one of these vehicles over there.
Okay, I'm gonna pin him in if he comes.
Yeah. Hold up.
Crossbar!
Let me lower the volume here. So this is a long video that was released by the police department. They had a lot of different angles from different cameras and so forth to give the full context of what happened. But it's too long for us to play here. Before we get into the context, what's your immediate reaction to this?
Well, I think there'll be a claim of excessive force.
Yeah, that was my thought. That was my thought. But you see that this is actually earlier. You see, there's a couple of times when he hit the police guard earlier. I don't know if there's a claim that they thought he was armed or not. I'm not sure about that. This is just different angles.
Yeah. I think they're going to have a lot of problems justifying the shooting on this one. There's really no imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury that I could see. You're out of your vehicle.
Quite a jolt from the car, though. That's not an issue, though, huh?
No. I mean, no. I mean, not to rise to the level of the outcome. No.
Right. All right. Here it is again.
I mean, see, here's the idea behind it, Jeff. If somebody was wedged in between the two vehicles, then obviously the use of force would be appropriate. But damage to a police vehicle is not going to justify deadly force.
Yeah, it's not a matter of human life is in jeopardy.
No. The cars are going to be repaired regardless. Now the damage is done. You know, it's like that second kick of the mule is not a learning lesson; it's punishment. Well, at that point, firing into the car is not going to undo the damage that was done, and I don't see how they're going to make a justification of it.
Okay. What if, whether it's the truth is another issue, but what if they thought he might have been reaching for a gun?
Well, I mean, that's certainly different. But you better have, something other than he could have had a gun. I mean, it better be like he has a history of carrying a gun, or he yelled out, "I have a gun," or something. But you just,
there were a lot of cops on the scene from all different angles, and they were negotiating with him for a period of time.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
it was getting close to showtime, so I didn't really have time to look at it at all.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I found it interesting that they kept discussing about pinning him in, yet nobody was pinning him in.
Well, that was their plan.
Well, I get it, but but
then they rammed into him before they had a chance to do that.
Right, but you said it was a longer video, so it sounds like they had ample opportunity to actually pin him in before he was able to get a good head start and start ramming cars.
Well, I don't know. All right, let's see. We got a couple more. You got more time, or you need to?
Yeah, go. Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we have here. Oh, okay, we got.
Apologies, but so I don't know what else to say.
You ought to know better.
So I will bite my tongue on that response, sir.
Yeah.
This police officer's ego just cost the taxpayers of his county $80,000. He saw a man videoing him from a distance and he just couldn't deal with it.
He's videotaping us. I'll be in contact. Hi, how are you?
Good.
Everything okay?
Yep. Can I get your name and badge number?
For what?
So I know who I'm making a complaint against.
For what?
For speeding.
That man was actually also a police officer and had a very good reason to be videoing this deputy.
So I wanted to film hypocrisy at its finest.
Okay.
But because of his ego or perhaps ignorance, this deputy abused his authority.
So.
Okay. License, registration, proof of insurance.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Because now you're in.
No, I'm doing nothing.
Retaliated against the man, arrested him, and placed him in the back of a police car. But within 20 minutes, the man would be out of handcuffs, out of the police car, and receiving an apology. So what changed? Other deputies, including Deputy Berlinski's supervisor, arrive at the scene. The body cam showed Deputy Berlinski explaining the situation to those other deputies.
He was just video recording?
And then when I was asking,
did he walk up to your stop?
No. But then
you don't have obstruction.
Berlinski actually admitted to the other deputies that his arrest was weak.
It's weak. Yeah, it's very weak, and I can care less that I say it on the camera.
The other officers on scene know that Officer Berlinski does not have probable cause to arrest Mr. Zakalik. Mr. Zakalik ends up being released about 20 minutes later, and the other officers actually apologize to him for violating his rights.
It will be handled, I'm sorry, the supervisor said on the body cam video. I will apologize for the sheriff's office.
I'm sorry, I will apologize for the sheriff's office. I'm sorry it happened. It shouldn't have happened.
This guy right here, that is Deputy Berlinski. The supervisor now makes Deputy Berlinski walk over and apologize to Barry, who is now unhandcuffed and standing there on the side of the road.
My apologies, but I don't know what else to say.
Am I free to go?
Absolutely, sir. Well, I'll see you in court. Okay, sir. Have a great day. Thank you, sir. Have a great day.
What the hell did he just say?
He said I'm a f***ing idiot and to see me in court. And then grabbed his balls and flipped me off.
He says, "I'll see you in court. You're a fucking idiot." He grabbed his balls and he said, "I'll see you in court." So I guess he didn't accept the apology.
Not well, anyway.
Did you? I think I heard them say that guy was a cop himself.
Yes, somebody did say that. Yeah.
Oh. Well, anything like that ever happened to you where you or a colleague was forced to give an apology?
Interesting. One time, somebody accused me of cursing them out at the scene of an accident.
Mm-hmm.
And the other driver went to the station and said that I at no time ever used any improper language. But the other person did. And the deputy chief was called in because the person making a complaint was a town employee. And the deputy chief suggested that we shake hands and that would be the end of it. And I refused. I said, if you're ordering me to shake hands with that person, I will refuse your order. And I want something in writing about it. And he just said, well, you're a stubborn guy, and left it at that.
Okay. I've seen in a lot of these videos, people saying they want a supervisor to come out. What is the policy on that? Is it some sort of a requirement that, because usually, at least in the videos I see, they usually say, okay, and the supervisor comes. But do they have to agree to that? I imagine there's not always a supervisor even available.
Right.
So what's can you give me a little insight on how that's handled?
Well, I think it's a case-by-case scenario. It's so hard to say on that, Jeff, because that seems to be the go-to comment to make now anytime something isn't going somebody's way.
I'm just thinking of it from the perspective of the cop who may have done something wrong. If the cop did something wrong and a supervisor comes out, then the cop might get in trouble. So why wouldn't the cop just say no to that?
Well, the whole landscape of policing has changed with the body camera.
Oh, yeah, because there's going to be evidence later that the request was made.
Correct. But also, if there's nothing to the complaint or the request, I don't see a thing wrong with saying, no, the supervisor is unavailable now. They're either at another scene or they're in the station and not on the road. And you say, if you want to make a complaint, you have my badge number, you have my name, and I have a recording of what took place. And then you have that recourse to follow up with a complaint at the station, in which case it could be reviewed by a supervisor. But Jeff, that game can be played. The supervisor shows up as a sergeant. Well, I want to see your supervisor, who's a lieutenant. Well, I don't like the answer I'm getting from the lieutenant. I want to see your supervisor, who's a captain. This could go on forever. It's just not feasible.
Well, I want to see the supervisor.
Exactly, until you're up to the point of the chief,
Yeah. All right. Well, let me ask you about the police and their requirement to obey motor vehicle laws when they're not responding to an emergency. Because he said that's why that cop, I guess he was from another police department, was recording the cop who arrested him because he was speeding. It seems to me that police officers often violate motor vehicle laws, whether it's speeding, going through a red light, parking in particular. They often will park illegally while they go to get something to eat.
Most state statutes exempt police officers from following motor vehicle laws during the course of
actually, because I'm an asshole, I've looked into this. Now I can't say about other than California, but I looked into it in California. They're exempt only when they're responding to an emergency. Okay. They're not just plain, at least in California. It's possible other states are different, but I doubt it. In California, they're not just plain old exempt from the vehicle code in all cases. Go ahead, break the law left and right, only when responding to an emergency.
Well, let me ask you this, Jeff. Mm-hmm. You're running radar, right? Somebody goes by you at 60 in a 30-mile-an-hour zone. Is that an emergency?
Yeah. Responding to an emergency or in pursuit of a suspect, yes. I've left that part out.
Because if you do the speed limit, the person will always get away.
Yeah. So that too, responding to an emergency, or you can consider that an emergency or pursuing a suspect. Same thing with emergency vehicles. It's the same exemption, actually. It's not just the police, fire department and ambulances and so forth. But not just when they're not, doing it out of necessity.
You respond to a mall during Christmas shopping season, and there are no parking spaces, and it is a bad check case. Are you supposed to drive around the parking lot until a space opens up, or do you park in the fire lane and go in and take the complaint?
Well, I'm saying the law says that you're not allowed to park illegally.
Well, who's going to give you the ticket?
Well, I'm not, who's going to give you a ticket? Right. Well, the other interesting thing I thought of, because I'm an asshole, is that a citizen actually has the authority to arrest a cop. If you look at the way it's written, the laws for making citizen arrests, if anybody is committing any kind of a public offense, a citizen has the authority to do it. And it doesn't say except if it's a police officer. Now, that would be very dangerous, but can you imagine if that ever happened? If citizens came up to you, let's say you didn't come to a complete stop at a stop sign and a citizen wanted to cite you.
How are they going to cite me?
Well, how do they make any citizen arrest? I guess they need the police to kind of cooperate if it's a citizen arrest, right?
Yeah, I mean, all you really, their only real logical avenue is to make a complaint, but I don't see where there's anyone going to even entertain the idea of that.
If it's a felony or maybe even a misdemeanor too, not an infraction, I think that a citizen in California has the authority to physically take somebody to a judge, a magistrate, as it says.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that would be very dangerous to do that to a cop.
That's called a fool's errand.
It is. This is where my mind goes, though. All right, let's do. I'm not saying it would ever happen. I'm just saying it's the law.
Yeah,
it's the law. I used to get annoyed with parking enforcement officers violating the law, because the irony of it was annoying to me, because it's the particular violation that they would cite people for does not involve safety, but they would be driving along and double parking and blocking traffic and so forth. Not the most dangerous thing in the world, but it's a safety issue as opposed to somebody at an expired meter. So the parking enforcement meters would be violating the law because they're not responding to an emergency in order to cite people for a non-safety issue. You follow my logic?
Yeah. No, I do. In a very hypothetical world, it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. I confronted them about that, and they said, well, what do you expect us to do? I go, park, ride a bike, walk. You wouldn't be able to write as many tickets, but it would be safer. All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
Let's see, what do we have here? I have this somewhere. This is getting to be a theme involving ramming other vehicles. This is on the George Washington Bridge, I believe.
Holy shit, this is on some movie shit right now. Oh shit, shots fired, bro. Holy shit, dude. Yo, they shooting this motherfucker. Holy shit. Oh my fuck. Oh. Oh shit. Oh. Oh. Oh my god. Guns drawn, shots fired, yo. Oh, they on this dude. Oh shit. Oh my god. Oh dude, I'm shaking right now. Holy fuck, bro. Yo!
Yeah, you see, your colleagues made that nice man shake in fear. Now, I don't know, there was probably something going on for a while before this. That's not the sort of response the police would normally do, right?
No, I'd like to know what led up to that, because obviously that was a serious scene.
And you see the white car, the people in the comments where I got this, I think it was on Facebook, wanted to know why they opened the car door in the, while the incident's still unfolding.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a regular civilian or maybe a cop?
In the white car?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, probably they're thinking about just getting out of that car and running in the other direction, I'm guessing.
Well, it looked like there's enough room to just drive by on the shoulder on the right, actually. Well, not while they're in front of him, but
yeah. And then there's a vehicle off on the side of the road there up ahead. That's clearly involved, right?
Yeah. Well, the caption and where I found it called it a demolition derby. So I guess there was a lot of that going on, and that's why they acted like they did.
Yeah. Yeah. You find some good ones.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of mayhem out there, so. All right, so should we call it a night?
Yeah, that sounds good. That was quite an interesting guest you got us tonight.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy it all, but certainly an interesting situation. I don't know what. Like I said, I tend to believe the last thing I heard sometimes. I'm with you on your point that the FBI probably wouldn't dummy up that evidence, and it doesn't seem like it's the sort of thing they could get away with.
No,
I don't know if you ever actually gave me that answer, right? I mean, that's what I was saying. If in fact they've got this evidence from cell phone towers and license plate readers too, they read the license plate, and that he bought components made up, and if they have all that, don't they have experts who could?
Well, they also have a confession, if I have read the news correctly.
Well, they say they do. I mean, so we'll see if they have a recording of that.
Yeah.
But assuming that that I'm sure all that evidence will be presented in court. Isn't that the type of evidence that experts exist who could verify whether or not the evidence was dummied up or whether it's real?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the defense attorneys can hire experts to come in and reevaluate the examinations that were done. But I suspect, a year from now, this guy will have pled guilty to whatever charges, and this will go away.
Right. Which
because he did.
It still doesn't mean he acted alone. And there's still a lot of weirdness to this whole case. Like when we got into it with Kyle Seraphin, I mean, it's very weird that they didn't solve the case sooner. All the things that we were saying when we were talking to Kyle, it was pretty weird. That still hasn't been explained.
But it sounds like there was no new information that was developed, that they just really worked the case the way they should have worked it. Don't forget, Jeff, a quarter of the FBI's resources was dedicated to the January 6th protest.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think they dedicated a quarter of the FBI resources after the 9/11 bombing, the Twin Towers. So the overreaction was unheard of for when you consider the scale and the scope of what actually took place that day.
Okay, that's true.
Right.
But then there's also the part about remember how nonchalant they were about the bombs and why, and like Kyle was saying, and then why did they just assume there weren't any others? That's just so weird.
Yeah, it was an underreaction that was confusing to me from the start, from the amount of the reward that was issued, the response, the publicity afterwards, trying to elicit tips. All of it was tamped down and
there's still no explanation.
No.
Yeah. The only explanation is that the agents were incompetent, or they didn't have, it wasn't enough of a priority, and then the new agents dug deeper and found it. That's the only explanation.
Correct.
All right. I don't know what to believe. Well, like I said, whatever the last thing I heard is what I'll believe. A real thinker. All right. Thank you, Greg, and thanks to our beloved audience. Please join us Wednesday night, which is also known as tomorrow night, for Ask the Inspector with Scott Ritter. And Thursday night on the Winers, our guest will be former CIA analyst Larry Johnson. And we'll be talking about the boat attacks in Venezuela and other stuff in Larry's wheelhouse. So you'll want to check that out. Both of those shows, as ours is, begin at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Do not miss it. We love you. Take care, everybody.
Good night.